This is Laurie Moore-Moore with Texas Brave and Strong. Tidbits of Texas history you never learned in school. Today's episode, Exploring the High Plains with Spanish Explorers in the year 1540. Long before Texas was Texas, a series of Spanish adventurers explored the mysterious land of the Great Plains. These expeditions were often motivated by the search for the great wealth promised by tales of mythical kingdoms that always seemed to be just a bit further but were never reached. Another motivation was the desire to gain recognition and glory by converting the Indians to the Catholic religion. One of these early Spanish explorers was Francisco Vasquez Coronado. Beginning at Compostela in present-day Mexico in the year 1540, Coronado, with more than 350 Spaniards, plus horses, livestock, and a very large number of friendly Indians, ventured to Indian pueblos near the current Arizona-New Mexico border. While there, one of his expedition members actually stumbled upon the Grand Canyon. Coronado's expedition wintered at an Indian village on the Rio Grande near Albuquerque in what is now New Mexico. In the spring, intrigued by tales of a fabulously rich city told by an Indian known as the Turk, Coronado set off on a long march to find it. Wandering through western Texas, the expedition searched in vain. At the eastern escarpment of the Llano Estacado, probably near Paladura Canyon, Coronado sent his army back to New Mexico and with 30 horsemen headed north to present-day Kansas. Finding only a poor Indian settlement, Coronado returned to New Mexico on a route loosely following what centuries later became the Santa Fe Trail. Instead of the searched-for gold, the treasure of Coronado's exploration took the form of the vivid descriptions of the plains, the buffalo, and the experiences of the explorers, as recorded by both Pedro de Castañeda, the chronicler of the Coronado expedition, and Coronado himself. Descriptions that we can be amazed by more than 480 years later. I'll share a few with you. To make their comments more understandable, I have adjusted their measure of distance from meters to miles. Now, close your eyes and imagine the high plains as Castañeda describes them. Now we will speak of the plains. The country is spacious and level and is more than 1,200 miles wide in the part between two mountain ranges. No settlements were seen anywhere on these plains. In traversing 750 miles, the other mountain range was not seen, nor a hill or hillock which was 3 times as high as a man. Several lakes were found at intervals. They were round as plates, a stone's throw or more across, some fresh and some salt. The grass grows tall near these lakes. Away from them it is very short, a span or less. The country is like a bowl, so that when a man sits down, the horizon surrounds him all around. There are no groves of trees, except at the rivers, which flow at the bottom of some ravines, where the trees grow so thick that they, the ravines, were not noticed until one was right at the edge of them. Who could believe that 1,000 horses and 500 of our cows, 5,000 rams and ewes, and 1,500 friendly Indians and servants, in traveling over those plains, would leave no more trace that they had passed than if nothing had been there? Nothing. So that it was necessary to make piles of bones and cow dung now and then, so the rear guard could follow the army. The grass never failed to become erect after it had been trodden down, and although it was short, it was as fresh and straight as before. Castañeda also commented on the buffalo. Another thing worth noticing is that the bulls traveled without the cows in such large numbers that nobody could have counted them. and so far away from the cows that it was more than 120 miles from where we began to see the bulls to the place where we began to see the cows. The country they traveled over was so level and smooth that if one looked at them, the sky could be seen between their legs, so that if some of them were at a distance, they looked like smooth-trunked pines whose tops joined. And if there was only one bull, it looked as if there were 4 pines. If a man only lay down on his back, he lost sight of the ground. Castaneda warned there was a danger of getting lost. Many fellows were lost at this time who went out hunting and did not get back to the army for 2 or 3 days, wandering about the country as if they were crazy. Every night they took account of who was missing, fired guns and blew trumpets and beat drums and built great fires, but yet some of them went off so far and wandered about so much that all this did not give them any help, although it helped many others. The country there is so level that the only thing to do is stay near the dead game quietly after sunset so as to see where the sun goes down. Coronado made observations on both the buffalo and the Plains Indians in his report to the King of Spain. I reached some plains so vast that I did not find their limit anywhere I went, although I traveled over them for more than 1,200 miles. And I found such a quantity of cows in these, of the kind I wrote Your Majesty about, which they have in this country, that it is impossible to number them. For while I was journeying through these plains until I returned to where I first found them, there was not a day I lost sight of them. After 17 days' march, I came to a settlement of Indians called Quirachos, who travel around with these cows who do not plant and who eat the raw meat and drink the blood of the cows they kill. And they tan the skins of the cows with which all the people of the country dress themselves. They have little field tents made of hides of the cows, tanned and greased, very well made, in which they live while they travel around near the cows, moving with them. They have dogs which they load, which carry their tents and poles and belongings. Imagine what these early Spanish explorers saw. The courage it took to ride into an unknown landscape, and how surprisingly different it was from Spain. This has been Laurie Moore-Moore with Texas Brave and Strong, the best little podcast in Texas. Be sure to check out my historical novel Gone to Dallas, The Storekeeper, 1856 to 1861. Find it on Amazon, Goodreads, and other bookish sites. Watch, too, for my new novel, Queen of Cotton, Confederate Camel Caravan Across Texas, coming later this year. Thanks for listening. Y'all come back.